I don't know what the weather's like where you are, but here in the Midwest, it is cold. And on days like today, all I want to do is curl up on the couch with a good book and eat some comfort food. So today I have 3 recipes I'll share with you that would be perfect on a day like today. We're going to begin with a tomato basil soup that has meatballs in it. Yum. So let's get started and I'll show you how we're going to make it. So here's what we're gonna need. Some meatballs. I just pulled some frozen meatballs out of my freezer. 1 leek, some basil, diced tomatoes, coconut milk, a little bit of honey, Parmesan cheese, and olive oil. So I'm just gonna start by chopping up the basil and also the leek. I put some olive oil in my skillet, and to that I added my leeks. I sauteed these for around 5 minutes or so until they were tender and starting to brown. From there, I added the leeks into the crock pot along with my basil, my tomatoes, my coconut milk, and my honey. Now I'm going to tell you that I did this, but you should not. So the recipe actually says to put these ingredients into a blender, but I thought I'd put them in the crock pot and use my immersion blender since I hardly ever use it. But that was a bad idea. There wasn't enough liquid in this, and so it wasn't blending very well. I was just pretty much getting covered in the soup mixture. So instead, I then spooned it out after I realized this isn't going to work. And you can see here, I had already started to spoon some of it out, and you're gonna see that my crock pot was empty in a minute. There it is. So I actually put it all into a blender instead, and then added all the blended mixture back into the crock pot. The recipe says you can make your own meatballs. I didn't feel like doing that, so I took a bag of frozen Italian meatballs, thawed them somewhat so that I was able to cook them. I probably added a total of about 12 meatballs, and then some Italian seasoning. Realized I wanted this to be a little bit thinner than what it was, so I added a little bit more coconut milk and cooked this for about 4 hours. And I did add in a cup of milk or so just to make it a little creamier. That's what it looks like. I served this up with some Parmesan cheese, a little bit of parsley on it, and we made some grilled cheese, and this was a really great comfort food meal. Nothing says cozy comfort food to me quite like a beef stew, so that's what we're going to make today. So here are all the ingredients that we're going to need. I know it looks like a lot, but I promise it'll be worth it. We're going to start off with a pot roast. So the recipe called for 2 to 3 pounds. This one is just shy of 2, so I'm probably going to add some additional veggies to make up for that. But we're going to need some thyme, some bay leaves, 4 cups of beef broth, some tomato paste, butter, onions, carrots, potato, some flour, some minced garlic, Worcestershire sauce. The recipe does not call for steak sauce, but I thought that would be good just to give it a little extra zing, and then some salt and pepper. I'll begin by preparing my vegetables. I'm going to cut up my onions, and then I already washed my potatoes. I'm going to cut those up as well. And also I will peel and cut my carrots into about 2-inch chunks each. I heated a large skillet over a medium-high heat, and once that was nice and hot, I added the roast to it, put a little bit of salt and pepper on both sides, and then I seared this until each side was golden brown, probably about 2 to 3 minutes per side. I removed the beef from the skillet at that point and added the onions, and I cooked those for about 6 minutes until those started to become translucent. I did add a little bit of water to the pan because those beef goodies that were stuck to the bottom of the skillet were starting to get a little bit too brown. Once the onions were done, I added those into the crock pot along with my carrots and potatoes. I did add some additional baby carrots to this because I just decided I wanted more carrots. Then I added my beef broth, my tomato paste, bay leaf, thyme, garlic, Worcester, however you say it, sauce, and my steak sauce. And then you want to cut up your beef. So I cut that up into small pieces and then I added that in as well. And I cooked this on low for about 7 hours. After 7 hours, the beef was about done and the veggies were tender. So the last step was to add a flour and melted butter mixture. And what this did was really just thicken up the sauce. So you can see it there. Once I added that, I just mixed it in and then I cooked it for another hour until the sauce thickened. This stew had a lot of veggies, which is the way I like it. I like a little bit of meat and a lot of veggies. So it was really good. I went ahead and I served this up in a bowl, added just a little bit of parsley to the top of it for color, and we enjoyed this for dinner. The whole house smelled amazing, and it was just a really great comfort food meal. This morning I'm gonna make a delicious cinnamon roll. I guess you could call it a casserole in the slow cooker, but it's gonna be real easy, and this would be a really great idea during the holidays if you're having guests over, which I know this year we're not really supposed to do, but this would be great to wake up to on Christmas morning, whatever. So we're gonna start with 2 cans of cinnamon rolls, 4 eggs, some vanilla, maple syrup, cinnamon, and almond milk. You can use whatever milk you want. First, I began by spraying my crock pot with some nonstick spray. You definitely don't want the cinnamon rolls to stick. With one of my tubes of cinnamon rolls, I opened that and began by cutting each of the rolls into 4 small pieces and adding those into the crock pot. I put the icing to the side for a minute because we're going to use that, just not yet. Next, I cracked my eggs, added those to a bowl along with my milk, syrup, vanilla, and cinnamon. I did think it was a little odd that I was adding eggs to this, but I went with it anyway. So I mixed that all together and I added that into the crock pot with the cinnamon rolls. Then I opened up the other tube of cinnamon rolls, did the same thing, cut these into 4 pieces each, and I added them into the crock pot. I took one of the containers of icing, put it in the microwave for about 20 seconds, and then I drizzled that over the top of the cinnamon roll mixture, and I set my crock pot to low. I let this cook on low for about 2.5 hours because the top was not getting quite done. It was still a little ooey and gooey. Ooey's a weird word, but it was still a little gooey. So now it looks perfect. I took the remaining icing, I put it in the microwave for about 20 seconds, and now we'll just dump that over the top. We'll give it a nice drizzle. I don't want to waste any of that. So now we'll just serve some of it up. You see the outside of it got a nice kind of almost crispy layer. I'll show you the inside. So there you can see what the inside looked like. This was really good. I admit it was a little weird for me in some spots where you could taste some of the egg, but overall it was really great and I'd make this again. Well, anyway, that does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I'll be back soon with some more easy meals.